What's up YouTube? For tonight's video we have a full priority moves team. Now this was a really big challenge. I'll get to that in a second, what is involved in this team. As usual guys, make sure you leave your team suggestion in the comment section below. If you do have any feedback on the video, that would be awesome too. Okay, so obviously the screenshot at the start, there was 8 Pokemon that I could pick from, and I could only use priority moves, which make things very hard because number one, they're not very powerful, and a Pokemon that could boost their defensive stats or set up on me was a major problem. So I actually had this one against Crimson TV. We had a battle today with this one, so make sure you go subscribe to her. That's on the screen now. Go to a video and tell her, give her a nice little message. I'm not going to tell her I'm going to do this. It'd be really cool if you're not subscribed to her. She does Pokemon videos too and such. Okay, let's get to this one. So she's got a Haunted lead there. I'm just going to Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch that to death there. I think it was just a fodder lead to set up the Trick Room. Now she wasn't aware that I was running this team either. So she was actually running a Trick Room team. So it was quite well suited for this team. In that way, there was a lot of still bad things about a priority move team. Okay, so here I'm going to go for a Snatch. Did I just say here I'm going to go for a Snatch? Oh my god. Anyways, I'm going to die to Blizzard, and that's going to hurt. So the idea I had was there was a couple of Pokemon that the user only gave 3 moves to, right? And since Snatch is a priority move, I thought it'd be a very good counter for all these other Pokemon. So when you can only use priority moves, right? The opponent is probably tempted to use boosting moves like Sword Dance, Bulk Up, etc. The idea is then I could snatch those stats and then use them against them. That was my way of trying to counter all the counters I had. Just a little idea I come up with, and it still is a priority move. Okay, so I got a Poison Touch there. I actually wasn't even meant to be running Poison Touch on this Krogunk. I was meant to be running Dry Skin on it, which messed me up in a lot of battles, but it actually helped me out in this one. Okay, so she tricks me a Lagging Tail there, which normally would have been really bad for Toxic Stroke, but since I'm running a priority moves team, it didn't really matter too much there. Okay, this was quite funny. Right, so I was like, well, here I wasn't sure whether she was going to go for a status move or anything, so I just went for Bullet Punch there. I break the Air Balloon anyway, because Levitate Air Balloon is hype. Then Claydol was going to explode here, so I'm like, oh, this is really going to hurt. I'm actually running max health on all of my Pokemon in EV investment, because obviously I don't need any speed at all, because they all have priority moves. Okay, so I barely lived that one, only because I had max health. And I get a little bit of hail damage there. Right, Obama is going to come in here. I'm going to go for the Vacuum Wave here. I'm running a little bit of special attack and a little bit of attack on this, and obviously a little bit of health there. So that's going to be me down there. So that sucked. Now, most of these Pokemon, as you probably noticed, were fighting types. So I had some real troubles getting with matchups, and it was terrible. But anyways, so here I'm going to swap in my Hitmonchan, go for the Fake Out. All of my Pokemon had Fake Out. It was pretty cool. I decided to change one of Smeagol's moves. I think it had Aqua Jet or something. I gave that Fake Out because that would be Stab, and it got Technician Boost too. So Fake Out and Extreme Speed would be a lot more better than Aqua Jet. There wasn't really too much use for that. So I thought, and I gave the other 2 Pokemon that had 3 moves Snatch. So that's the only changes I made. I didn't add any other things. So it was really hard. Okay. So she's going to Mega Evolve into the Ordino here. So I had nothing to hit this thing with. Still at this stage, she didn't know that I was running all priority moves. Like I hadn't revealed any other moves yet. So it was like Bullet Punch was doing nothing as well. That was the only move I really had, to hit it with. Okay, Psyshock hits me really hard there. I was expecting like a Fairy type move, but regardless, I actually had Assault Vest on my Hitmonchan there, so that actually went against me. So if I had Dazzling Gleam or something, that would have done less. Alright, so I'm going to get hit by Psyshock with my Smeagol here. Right, so as I said, I got the Fake Out on this one with Technician. It does nothing. Smeagol's got a mighty 170 attack or something, so I'm going to go for a Fake Out Extreme Speed there. Now, Ordino's going to go for the Psyshock here. Now, the first attack was actually max damage, and that was min damage, so I was able to actually live get the next attack off here. Okay, so after I started using all these like priority moves for half the battle, she's like, I could hear, she's like, he's only using priority moves, and he's like, this, obviously it completely counters, the Trick Room strategy. Anyways, So my Smeagol is going to go down here to the Psyshock. There's not much I could do there. I was trying to get around this Mega Ordino. This team was really bulky. You saved like the Haunter there just as a frail Trick Room user. Okay, so here I was thinking, well, I can go for the Fake Out and the Bullet Punch. That'll do some nice damage. Excuse me there. But she's going to swap it out and go to Hariyama. Now, this is another Pokemon that I could have used for the Priority Moves team too. This gets Fake Out and Bullet Punch. But I guess that's only 2 moves. That's not really as much as the other ones. Okay, so it's got Fake Out there. That hits really, really hard. Hariyama is a very, very scary Pokemon. Here I'm going to go for the Mach Punch. That's my main stab with Iron Fist there. I'm going to get knocked off here from that, so that sucks. But I guess the good thing about it, I got a little bit of damage, and I got Mach Punch off, and there's a little bit of Flame Orb damage happening too there. That was my Assault Vest. I actually had Assault Vest on 2 of my Pokemon. Okay, so the Trick Room runs out, doesn't really matter too much. Now, I'm going to got my Kecleon here, which also had Snatch. Now, make sure you stick around for the blooper at the end of this video. It is really hilarious, to say the least. Alright, so Malamon's going to come in here. Now, this thing was scary, to say the least. Now, I faked out there. I got a crit. That was really nice. And now I see the Toxic Orb. I'm like, that's strange. Maybe it's... Well, I'd say maybe it's got Facade, because I can't really think of any other reason it had Toxic Orb on Malamar. So I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch here. That does some nice damage there. Malamar's going to go for the knockoff there, which is not very effective, but that's going to get rid of my leftovers, which isn't too... I'm not really too worried about that. I could have even put Assault Vest on this too. I just wanted to mix my items up a little bit. Okay, so Malamar's going to swap out here. I thought that'd be too obvious to go for Sucker Punch again. Let's go for the Shadow Sneak and get some damage off. That was really good there. So I'm going to get some extra damage off against Hariyama. Even though it's very bulky, that does some solid damage. And I get a little bit of burn damage there from the Flame Orb. Now it's like, well, I don't want to take anything from this Pokemon. Let's go into my Hitmontop here. Now, Hitmontop was another really good Pokemon on our team. It was mainly Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, and I get freaking critted there by Knockoff there, which sucked. That was my other Assault Vest Pokemon. It was mainly those 2 that were doing the most damage, and Kecleon was quite good too, obviously because of Protein. But the rest were a little bit underwhelming at parts. But they all, they all played their role. All right, so Ordino is going to come out here. I'm going to go for the Fake Out again. Obviously, by this time, she knew that I only had priority moves. I'm pretty sure because I only was using them. But then against me, I was thinking about putting some other attacks on my Pokemon. Then she gets a Healing Wish off here on her Mega Ordino. So I'm like, damn, I know where that's going. That's going to go heal up that freaking Malamar. And it's going to be full health, and the Toxic's going to be healed. So, yes, that was worrying. I was very worried about that. Okay, so it's got all its health back, and the, obviously the poison's going to go. But since it was a Toxic Orb, I knew the poison would come back. So that's cool. Okay, so here I'm going to go for the Mach Punch again. That was my best move I could use against it. Did some decent damage there. Then it goes to the Superpower, so I'm like, bugger, this is not good. Okay, so I lived that one. Obviously, it's a Contrary Malamar. That's a pretty standard move on it. Okay, so it's got the poison happening there. That's cool. So I have nothing to do. I could just have to go for the Mach Punch there and get some damage off it. Okay, so Malamar's going to go for the Superpower again. That's going to take my Hitmontop out. So all I had left was my Kecleon. It did have Fake Out, so I knew that'd be good. I could get some extra round on the toxic damage there. All right. So I knew this would be really, really close at the end because I'd get some damage off like after the Fake Out, as I mentioned, and then I could do my next attack. Okay, so going for the Fake Out here, I knew that it wouldn't do very much, obviously because of all the superpowers that are up there, but the main thing was that poison. That was really helping me out there. Okay, so here I thought about my move. I was like, Shadow Sneak would be too obvious because, that's the, to draw out the superpower. So I went for the Sucker Punch there because I thought she would go for knockoff. She ended up going for superpower, and that's going to take out my Kecleon. So very close finish there. That last turn could have gone either way, but it was a fun battle. Hope you enjoyed this one. Peace out.